After being bullied by the prettiest girl in school for 3 years, I did something petty and ugly. I used her photos and started an online relationship with a rich heir. He was gentle, polite, and generous with money. His only flaw was that he was a little too intense when it came to desire. Very quickly, with enough sweet talk, I got 4 years of college tuition out of him. On the day I decided to break up with him, I asked casually, "Baby, what would you do if I suddenly disappeared?" He laughed, his tone turning dangerous. "Sweetheart, don't joke about that. I don't like it." I didn't respond well to pressure, so I deleted him. Later, by accident, I ended up interning at the same tech company as the girl who had bullied me. On our first day, the CEO from headquarters came down for an inspection. I stood at the very back of the crowd. When I looked up, I saw a face so familiar my breath stopped. Before I could react, the man's gaze landed on Summer Blake's face, and his eyes suddenly lit up. The man I had dated online for 3 years was standing right in front of me. The impact was too much. For a few seconds, my mind went completely blank. By the time I came back to myself, his steps had paused. Then he suddenly turned and walked straight toward us. My heart pounded. I carefully lifted my eyes. The man was breathtakingly handsome, his expression unreadable, his whole body carrying a cold, untouchable aura. He wore a black shirt I had once seen in his photos. It framed his broad shoulders and narrow waist with clean precision. A section of wrist showed beneath his cuff. Faint veins lay under the skin, restrained and powerful. Bennett Vale. He was taller than in the photos, more handsome, harder to look away from. Our supervisor whispered that Mr. Vale was here to inspect the work. She told us not to be nervous. He had no time to bother with interns like us. The words had barely left her mouth when Bennett's steps slowed. A cufflink slipped without warning from his wrist. It hit the floor with 2 crisp taps, rolled past my shoe, then stopped perfectly at Summer's feet. The air seemed to still for a second. Bennett stopped in front of us. More accurately, he stopped in front of Summer. The two of them stood face to face, very close together. One cold and elegant, the other bright and beautiful. They looked painfully well matched. I held my breath. 4 words appeared in my mind, a perfect pair. His secretary immediately moved forward to pick up the cufflink, but Bennett suddenly raised a hand and stopped him. Summer blinked. As if she understood something, she hurriedly bent down, picked it up, and handed it to Bennett with flushed cheeks. "Mr. Vale, you dropped this." Bennett did not take it right away. Instead, he lowered his eyes and slowly stepped 2 paces closer to Summer. I was standing closest to her. As Bennett approached, a faint fragrance wrapped around me. Fur and citrus, cool with a thread of warmth. I knew that scent too well. It was the anniversary gift I had picked for him myself during our online relationship. I had visited so many fragrance counters, testing one bottle after another, before finally choosing that one. I pressed my lips together and glanced sideways without moving. Bennett was staring at the top of Summer's head as if no one else existed. Dark emotion moved in his eyes. The joy of something lost and found again. The excitement of reunion, and even a trace of hurt from being abandoned. Summer held out her hand for a long time, but the man across from her did not respond. She couldn't help reminding him softly. "Mr. Vale?" That finally seemed to pull him back to reality. He cleared his throat and accepted the cufflink without changing expression. "Thank you." After a pause, his fingertips brushed lightly across Summer's palm. Then Bennett added in a low voice, "Summer." His voice was faintly hoarse. Summer's face turned completely red. "Yes, I'm Summer, Mr. Vale."